Hello everybody, this is Travis. Welcome back to Tpull's Corner, and we've got a deck today. It's called Nothing Small Allowed. It's 63 cards. Quick overview. 17 creatures, only 23 lands, and our ace in the hole basically is Kaervek the Spiteful. If you've been having any kind of trouble against things like mono red decks or the small cheap elves maybe, or the black or the blue and white knight decks, just littered with artifacts, that kind of thing. Okay, every other creature on the field, including your own, gets -1/-1 except for Kaervek. So Scoot Swarm's not a problem anymore, that kind of thing. We've got 3 copies of him as needed. The rest of the deck: Village Rites to draw some cards if we're about to lose a creature, Disenchant for artifacts or enchantments, Glass Casket for a creature that's maybe more than 1/1, but we need to get rid of. Knight's Pledge to pump up our own creatures, because remember, all of our creatures are going to lose 1 power and 1 toughness, so we need some way to gain it back. Main Serval, who's got 1/4, makes good for a good chump blocker. Might last a little bit longer, even if he turns into a 0/3, but he's got Vigilance. A couple of Pacifisms. A couple of Swift Responses for target removal. 1 Divine Gambit. This one can be tricky. You exile a target artifact, creature, or enchantment an opponent controls, but they get to put a permanent card from their hand onto the battlefield. So if you can, you hold on to it until they've got almost nothing left in their hand, and then there's a reduced risk of having something bigger and more powerful, more threatening come out than the thing that you just got rid of. But sometimes you got a threat, it's about to kill you, you've got 1 turn left, and this is all you got in your hand, and you got to play it and see what happens. We do have Agonizing Remorse that can combine with Divine Gambit. If they've only got 1 or 2 cards left in their hand, you can sort of pull in and see what they've got, get rid of any big threat, and then get rid of the threat on the field. Heartless Act, again for removal. Malefic Scythe. The Scythe works pretty well with Kaervek and some of these other creatures that are on there. Whenever you lose a creature that is equipped on it, you get another soul counter on Scythe, so the next time you equip it, it's got another counter, get you additional 1/1 counter, and just get successively more powerful throughout the game as long as you can put down a replacement creature for the one they killed. Wither Crown, you enchant the creature, they turn into having base power 0, and at the beginning of their upkeep they lose 1 life unless they sacrifice the creature. Mazemind Tome to dig through our deck. 2 Core Celebrants to give us some life. 3 Glorious Anthems, this is to give all our creatures +1/+1, so if we have Kaervek down and our Core Celebrant turns into 0/3, we can get him back to a 1/4 and maybe a 2/5 or a 3/6, with depending on how many of these enchantments we can get down throughout the game. Foreboding Fruit, usually for us to dig through our deck a little bit. Groldraz Mucklord, when he dies you put a +1 counter on a target creature we control. So you can see that we're kind of trying to take away their counters or neutralize them, and we're trying to get and choose cards that synergize well that give us additional counters just to pump us up enough to overcome them. Suffocating Fumes, all opponents' creatures get -1/-1, so if we've got a bunch of 2/2s in the field, if we can get Kaervek down and then use this, we got them all taken care of. Tabarrak's Hope's Demise, it gets flying, and whenever another non-token creature that we control dies, we get to put a counter on him. You get 5 of them, and he develops lifelink. General Crudro of Drannith, other humans we control get +1/+1, and like it or not, Kaervek is a human, so he would benefit from that. Whenever he enters or another human enters the battlefield under our control, we get to exile a target card from our opponent's graveyard, and if we need to, we can sacrifice 2 humans and destroy a creature with power 4 or greater. Something to help us out with the mana, since we only have 23 lands. Heraldic Banner is a good choice because we get to add 1 mana of the chosen color. You can choose black or white depending on what your mana needs are usually, but also you get to choose a creature color, and that color gets +1 to their power. Hero of the Winds, our flying chump blocker. Whenever we cast a spell that targets Hero of the Winds, creatures you control get +1. So we don't have a lot to help him out, but maybe we could put Knight's Pledge on him, that kind of thing. Archon of Sun's Grace, 3/4 creature with flying and lifelink, and whenever you get an enchantment in the battlefield, you get to create this 2/2 White Pegasus creature token with flying, you see to the right. 1 copy of Leonin War Leader. This can be a pain for the opponent. Whenever a Leonin War Leader attacks, you create 2 white cat creature tokens with lifelink that are tapped and attacking. Now they die if Kaervek's out and you got nothing else, but if you got Glorious Anthem out, they'll come out as 1/1 still, and they will be threats. Luminous Bloodmoth, whenever a creature we control without flying dies, we bring it back as a flyer. and True Love's Kiss to take out artifacts and enchantments, 2 Doom Scars in case things go horribly wrong, 1 Victory's Envoy. At the beginning of our upkeep, you get +1 counters on each other creature we control. And Scion of the Swarm with flying. Whenever we gain life, we get a +1/+1 counter on Scion of the Swarm. And our other ace in the hole, kind of, if we can last long enough, is Massacre Worm. For 6 mana, we enter the battlefield and all creatures our opponents control only get -2/-2. So if we got a bunch of 3/3s on the field and we have Kaervek down, we can still wipe the field. Every time a creature an opponent controls dies, that player loses 2 life. The rest is the lands, and we're going to take this out for a spin and see how it works. What else do I want to say? Just the normal stuff. You know, if this is your first time, take a look at us. If you like what you see, hit like and subscribe. If you haven't done like and subscribe, but you're returning, what do I have to do to get you to press that button? We need to grow. Come on. Share our videos with other people. Bring them back. Introduce them to the corner. Here we go. Alright, we are opening after just the first couple of moves in this game, because I'm playtesting a new deck. It's not too new, but it's new enough. It's called No Small Things Allowed. And it's sort of based around the idea of fighting things like Mono Red. Mono Red's gotten a little bit better with the new standard, because they got things like, you know, here's a Goblin, he's 3/3 with haste. That's not bad for 3 mana cost. So they're getting a little more powerful. There you can see 2 of them in a row. We're still holding our own right now with our defenses. So the red decks aren't quite as slow as they used to be. I shouldn't really say slow. With haste, red's always been fast, right? They've always had the chance to be fast. They're not as small as they necessarily used to be. It's not a very threatening artifact, but you work with what you have. Okay, this, I'm going to say no attacks for now. This is our ace in the hole. Kaervek the Spiteful. It's a legendary creature. Other creatures get -1/-1. Ouch. That's all other creatures. But I need removal to help get rid of Inferno. I can get rid of his Goblin Javeliner. And I can fly over and hit him for 3. But he can just pump himself up. I'm going to need to get some blockers in there. There really should be some way to just choose to spend all your money or all your mana at once on those single pumps. Okay, that'll work. Alright, we still have enough for him. And then I'll go ahead and attack there. Gotta have a little pressure on here. Okay, the goblins don't show up because -1/-1. So they did get created, they don't stick around. And I'm not sure why you would do this. I don't know how much time we have against this guy. He might have some direct damage up his sleeve. There are cards that do 6 damage direct to us. And you can't prevent them. But that's a wrap. It's as good a start as any. Oh boy. Looks like we got artifacts coming our way. We are ready. Small creatures, we are ready. We just need a Kaervek. It's all we need. Don't want to use that just yet. I should have attacked technically, but I want to see if he tries to equip it. No, he's going to do that instead. Okay. So we'll get rid of this now, so it's not a threat. He's getting a little too big for his britches already, so let's try and see if we can do something about that. If he has a disenchant, then we'll be at a disadvantage. He might want to lose the life. If he has a lot of creatures he can get out, just so that everybody else gets that +1/+1. So see, he's keeping it. He thinks it's worth a point of damage each turn. I don't know what kind of pump up he might have, so we're not going to block that. I do want to keep our creatures as much as possible. And we got a lot of choices here on what to do. I guess we'll bring Core Celebrant out. We'll get one of our life back. And then we'll get life for everybody else that we put out after this. If all he's going to do is swing in with the Shield Maid, we're going to take that each time if he's not going to spend his mana doing anything else. It's too easy to have a red instant that can pump him up and kill our guy. We still want to keep everybody. Ah, this is kind of interesting. So if we use all our mana now, that is generally the accepted practice, right? We're only gaining 1 life back, so we're losing 2 points a turn. But he's losing a point a turn as well. And now we're going to start to have some threats. Okay. Ah, but you used something. You used something, my friend. Do you have a buff? He could. He does. He has Resolute Strike. That's what I was afraid of. Okay, so there goes our life gain. What do we want to do? So many choices. Let's put Kaervek out there. I kind of wanted to put Tabarex out there, so if he gets rid of like that, we'd get a counter, but he'd just do that to Tabarex if I put Tabarex out there. Okay, so let's see what happens. Do you have... No, doesn't have any more of that. Okay, so since you are tapped, we'll get rid of you now. And him keeping with a crown, I hope, is going to prove to be not the best choice for him, that it's going to punish him the longer this game goes on. We're going to step aside and take one more hit from Beskir. If he doesn't have removal, we can actually swing in with Tabrax and attack. We made him think. We made him stop and think. You're getting rid of all my stuff. Oh no, he had to choose his own sacrifice. This has got to be to different players. He couldn't do both of those to me, I guess. Alright, so this, make sure we don't have to worry about another creature forming. This pumps us up. And we don't have to worry about hasters because I have vigilance, so I can still use them as a blocker. He doesn't have quite enough mana to kick his other Royal Eruptions yet, so I'm still okay. But I guess if we're going to lose him, we might as well lose him now. No, he doesn't want to lose him. Does he have trample? Yeah, he does. That's probably why. But we have enough to block him. Okay, that'll give him a couple of points on me. Are you willing to trade now? It's worth it for me to avoid the 7 damage. We all got here now. I got Runa Speed, Dwarven Hammer, and Scavenge Blade. And he attached it to the Dwarven Hammer. So if we get a removal, we're going after Dwarven Hammer. Okay, this should kill you, hopefully. You don't have anything to pump that up. Now we got to worry about him sacrificing Axgard Armory to get something. Didn't bother to hold on to that to kick it. And we are flooding out with land. And this is where things start to get to... Hello. I was going to say this is where things start to get deadly for us. Okay, so we'll get rid of the flyer. Everybody else loses 1/1. And we don't have to worry about the extra 1/1 creature because that automatically died. But he's back up higher than we want him to be now. Way higher than we want him to be now, and we can't stop him. We need to wait a turn and see if we get removal. We get a blocker. He's got trample though, doesn't he? Yeah, that's going to be it. We can't stop that. He still gets to tap us even though we lost the creature. So yeah, this is one of the problems with the deck, is that if you get big creatures out, we can't necessarily stop you if we don't have enough removal. By the time I put the core concept together, I didn't put together what do you call the black removal spells quite as much. So that could be a mistake. We'll try again. Yeah, so as I was saying, I tend to have staples of removal in my black decks. I always have at least one, you know, Eat to Extinction. I usually have at least one, well, I only have one copy, but I always have one copy of Extinction Event. I left those out on this particular deck, and we're going to see if we can make it work. This is not the greatest opening hand, and this is going to take us a while before we can get that down. And you can see the game has already matched us up against two matches in a row where they've got cards that plus up all of their guys, and of course that's their entire lineup almost is the Knights. It's almost like they want us to lose. They deliberately seeked out the obvious and immediate counter to our deck. Okay, if we put him down now. Let's put down the 1/4 blocker. Let's see if that gives us enough time to respond. We just want to live, right? We just want to live a couple more turns. He might have something here. He does not. Interesting. Ah, he does. He's just holding it. Okay, so this is where we take the risk. We'll activate our ace in the hole now. And I usually get 2 whites at this point, but since I have Mass Careworm, and swamps are the least, they number the least in our lands. Let's put that out so we can have ready for Mass Careworm. And let's get rid of 1 creature now, and decrease the power and abilities of the others.
It's a shame we must fight on such a lovely day. Consider the evil within yourself.
Okay. Out comes another blocker, and we'll get rid of you. So you can't pump everybody else up, and both of your others go away. That basically removed the defender and took away their weak link.
No peace, my enemy.
Okay, what do we want to do here? Put down him. I don't know that it matters what we get rid of here. But we can sacrifice 2 humans. Okay, he doesn't have the right power, so we can't do that. So we're going to have to do that. And he's going to block us with... He's going to use him to make sure Kaervek can't do anything. He just killed his own Javelineer, but he's still kind of got the drop on us with our health this low.
Stay your hand. Let's talk.
Hang on a second. Let's wait on that. Protection from multicolored. There. Now we should...
Observe the magic of goodness. We need not fight here.
Oh, does he get to attack immediately when he gets to 7? I didn't know that. I thought we had to wait on... I thought he'd have to wait on that. He gets to attack immediately. Ah, you learn something new every day. Okay, so we're going to target him. We're going to sacrifice those 2. We're going to block. Oh, that does no good because he's indestructible, right? That was a destroy, not an exile. Okay. Sorry, I'm not paying enough attention on that. You like that? That's for newer players. This is Lithoform Engine from Zendikar. I like that card. Okay, I got a Fabled Passage again in the opening hand. I don't like having 2 tap lands in the beginning. But I didn't really have a good 2-drop, so we have the Doomscar we can foretell. This could be fun if they have a bunch of eye twitches and gas. We won't need Kaervek, they're just going to kill all their 1/1s anyway. Okay. Do we want to get rid of that with Divine Gambit now? No, not yet. And we don't really want to put out Kaervek until they have a 1/1, or at least another creature that we want to reduce. Okay, let's take a risk here. If we get rid of you now, what else you got hiding up your sleeve? Exactly another one. Yeah, we're playing poker. Alright, well. Let's at least get a chump blocker so we don't lose out too much on life right away. Let's see if he wants to waste removal on a 2-mana creature. Raid Bombardment is good for us. Creatures with power 2 or less, which means there's a lot of creatures with toughness 1 that he's expecting to be able to use. So we'll have a nice surprise for him, possibly. No blocks. Come on through. Because we're going to put this on our Vigilant guy. And that way he can attack and block unless he's removed. Okay, you can attack with him, but I can block. Really? It's kind of useless. Another one. You gave up a treasure just to put it out now? Okay. I don't have any other removal aside from the Doomscar right now. So, let's go ahead and do this. We'll go ahead and put Kaervek in now. And we will attack with our Vigilant, who is still strong enough to kill any blockers. It's going to bring him back, so all he did was save himself from 2 points of damage, but he lost 2 life to have that happen. So I'm not sure what he really gained from all that. But as long as he doesn't have a board wipe, I'm starting to feel good about our chances, because we'll do this. And now he's got to wonder which of the 3 threats is worse for him. The reducer, the strengthener, or the one that's actually good enough to come over and hit him for damage right now. He's got all this mana, he hasn't been doing any of this yet with the Warlock class. You get the sense he could be doing better. There we go. Did he just jump it straight up to level 7? But you skipped... Yeah, you skipped the draw when you did that. That was a mistake. Alright. I'm not sure how well our deck did against... I mean, our deck was doing well against him, but I think he made a couple of errors there that the game could have been a lot closer than it was. Alright, we actually don't have a Fabled Passage for a change. Summoning your Hexblade without your treasure to do it. Is somebody's deck not fully kicking in the way it's supposed to just yet? That makes you just a regular 2/2 creature for 2 mana. There's nothing special to that. You may be unblockable, but I'm going to do just as much damage. That's part of the reason I like the Scythe, is it only costs 1 to equip. And I really like having it on a creature with vigilance. Is it us that made him think that much already? Sacrifice a treasure to get a treasure, but to get the card draw in too. And we're into reruns already. If they're going to build up, we're going to build up. We've got the white creature out, so we'll strengthen the white creature and keep pressing forward. You did all your card draw and you didn't attack and you didn't equip. But it's not over yet. He's willing to use a Soul Shatter on a 1/4 creature. That feels almost wasteful. What do we want to do? I feel like he's hiding more removal in there. Let's get rid of Soul Shatter in case he can resurrect that and reuse it for any method, or by any method. And do we want to do... Let's not do pacifism just yet. Let's just set up for Doomscar. Maybe I should have equipped the Scythe instead. Might have been better long term. didn't really matter. I could have wasted mana trying to equip the scythe, and he could have killed it before I got anything equipped. Westgate Regent. 6/6 because of the treasures. Now your plan is finally becoming revealed. You can't really let Westgate Regent hit me. Scythe on it now. Is it gonna make it? It makes it. It makes it on. Man, we made him think. Alright, he might have a way to save it, but let's just get it out of the way for now. Do we need to save our mana for anything? I don't think so. Probably should have done this before the attack. I'm moving fast here. My fault sometimes. Sometimes the opponent starts to freeze too much, I get impatient and just start moving just to get something out the door, so to speak. I think I have few enough creatures in here that I do have to be at a big disadvantage against discard. And those mill decks can still get you just right. I don't think you can kill me, you can just bring stuff back, right? Brought him back with haste. Okay, fine. You're gonna lose him to haste too, so to speak. Not because I have haste. You're just gonna lose him in a hasty way. I appreciated that. Success. We'll keep that. Position the Doomsky. Position the scythe. Do we have time for all this positioning? Gross. I'm gonna wait because I want to use Doomscar, but I do want to see what tricks he has up his sleeve. It shouldn't hurt us terribly to let him hit us one more time. I just want him, there we go, I want him to bring something else out. Gotta make these Doomscars worth our while. Alright, you guys all go away. Let's start over, shall we? Resolute Rider can be a problem, so let's just immobilize him. That'll give us another flyer and blocker. And if we use a scythe with the lifelink, that'll take some of the pressure off. If you're going to do that, we'll use our village rights. Still get the credit on the scythe as well. It's kind of a twofer. Gotta love it when those things happen. That's like a little bonus. When things that are that good happen, they start to slow down. Do we want to block with the Tavern Swindler? Absolutely we do. You could have used that thing to make a lot more. If you're not going to. Okay, let's start with Hero of the Winds. I feel like we've got time enough that we can build up as we need to. Look, our time just went away. Shadow Sphere. Gross. They've got power 2, but they've top decked out. So start with our other flyer. got some blockage in the air. And they've got the same number of lands as we do. So what do we do next? He's still got the Indulging Patrician. We can get past it. So I'm okay with you attacking because you know that I'm going to have some nice forces to come after you next. But if he has just one other life gain thing, suddenly we've got multiplying flyers, which is the risk. Okay, this will pump up our Scion. Make sure you can't bring back Veto on me. And now our flyers have enough ability to block. Because Here Are the Winds is a human and benefits from Kudro's buff. And that was the tipping point. Didn't even need to bring out Kaervek yet. Not too long ago, this meant mutate right away. Not necessarily anymore. Goodbye. Looks like we need more white spells than black spells this particular moment. This is usually when we start seeing things like Teferi's tutelage coming up. Testing to see if they had a counterspell. Looks like they don't. Interesting. There comes the room crab. expect him to have his chunk blockers. Let's see if we can make him get rid of the rune crab or not. You already have a land in your hand. You wanted to keep it? Ah, Tasha City's Laughter. How much did we lose there? 10 cards? That's about standard. I'm not noticing any counter spells, so let's just get you out of the way. I will accept that. Get rid of the rune crab. I want you to play your enchantments next. Seriously? You got a 20. Alright. Gain control of it until end of next turn. Where's the timer that shows us that? Let's get rid of you now. You need to do damage, right? So that doesn't matter. Alright, we're digging through our own deck. And what do you have left? Sphinx Mindbreaker. Yeah, you had 2 copies of those. Yeah, that would pretty much get rid of me, wouldn't it? Two 6/6 flyers to get rid of 20 of my next 23 cards. We'll get some life back now while we can. This does not help you. Ouch. This looks like a deck that works as long as he gets 7 lands out. If he does that, it looks like he has pretty good odds of winning. We're kind of flooding out ourselves right now. Congratulations, you're in the exact same situation you were a second ago. Alright, he's going to have to top deck something good or it's game over. Feels good to just be able to show that we can beat a mill deck with this one. Very well. This game makes the cut then. that's the deck. It performs relatively well. It's got a number of problems. It can't always win against mill. If they mill away our disenchants and that kind of thing, then Teferi's Tutelage can really take us out. Vigilance is particularly devastating because we've got 2 swift responses, and usually whenever the arena wants to take us out, they just give us both swift responses up front, and then they make sure that our enemy has nothing but vigilant creatures in their deck. So maybe we need to consider rebalancing, moving a card or 2 around to account for that, possibly. Maybe get a tapped card that goes into the Strixhaven sideboard, for example. Also, maybe it just needs 1 or 2 more removal spells, since usually it is creatures that tends to do us in on this particular deck. The small ones we can get rid of with Kaervek and the other stuff. If they get a big one out pretty fast, then we're just dead. You know, we kind of need the pacifisms and the swift responses right then in order to take care of things. But in the new meta, I think they're going what you would say deeper instead of wider. So in other words, instead of putting out 21-1 Scoot Swarm clones, which we can deal with pretty handily, they're doing mono red goblins, but the goblins are like 3/3 sooner than they used to be, that kind of thing. So they're either putting out creatures that are more powerful up front, or they're putting out 1/1s, but they're really fast to put counters on them and pump them up than they used to be with the current cards that are available. So maybe this particular deck won't fare too well if you try to put it in the modern 2022 standard. But you know, some of these cards wouldn't be valid anyway in there. So take it out for a spin, see if you like it for yourself. If you're facing a lot of the 1/1 swarm decks too often, and you just really want to put them in their place for a change, or at least make sure that you win against them enough so that the arena doesn't give you any of those for a while, this is the deck to play. Alright? Thanks for coming to Tpull's Corner, hanging out with us. Come back again. Share the videos with a friend. Always like and subscribe, please. Have a good one.